What has not been reported in Canadian media anywhere is that approximately a year ago in August, actually August 27th of 2021, I'm part of a group of Canadians who are concerned about how the government is mishandling this file, the PS752 file. And we had evidence in our possession that we believed supported political interference in that case. So we actually filed a formal public complaint against the commissioner of the RCMP, Brenda Lucki. We filed it through the Civilian Review and Complaints Commission. I had done some inquiries with some colleagues of mine. I was strongly advised by them to file through the CRCC for fear that the RCMP may bury the complaint if we had gone directly to them. The CRCC is empowered to receive complaints, and what happens in the process is they receive a complaint, they log it, they keep track of it, and then it goes to the RCMP for the internal investigation, or what we call in the RCMP a code of conduct investigation. When we submitted it to the CRCC, within about 2 weeks, it was promptly transferred to the National Security and Intelligence Review Agency, the NSIRA, which is this obscure body in Canada that handles national security matters. Our complaint was deemed to have a national security implication. And that's what's important. I don't want your audience to think, well, here's a former RCMP officer who's involved with PS752 and he's throwing around this political interference and he's trying to piggyback on whatever happened this past week. That's not what happened. The formal public complaint was submitted through a law office. It was submitted on behalf of the actual complainants, our family members whose family members, the victims aboard that flight, were Canadian citizens. We can get into the jurisdiction later, but that's very important, the fact that they were Canadian citizens.
And that complaint was filed in August of 21, wasn't it?
August 27th, that's correct.
Yeah.
So why this is important, and I'll make this real, is once that was received and transferred to the National Security Agency, had there been no standing to our complaint, had it been seen as frivolous, something else wrong. That's why citizens is so important, because in Canadian law, criminally, we can't do anything with what happened with PS752 for the permanent residents. And there were 30 permanent residents that perished on that. Still Canadians, but it's actually the 55 Canadian citizens that allow us the legal means by which to pursue this. So with the fact that it wasn't sent back to us and rejected is a de facto acceptance of the fact that we have bonafide allegations of political interference. And that is now in the process. And I want to be clear with your audience, there's been no ruling or result issued yet. It's coming up to a year. So we have a formal public complaint which does actually contain allegations of political interference. And the other thing that we have, where we specifically asked for a code of conduct investigation, again, on the actions surrounding Brenda Lucki, the commissioner of the RCMP, and specifically the complaint is founded on the fact that she made a decision to not open a Canadian criminal investigation into the murder of 55 Canadian citizens. You'll have politicians out there and others, talking heads saying, well, there's nothing we can do. You'll hear all sorts of things. You'll hear that happened in Iran. The Prime Minister himself had said that. But quite frankly, there are certain offenses in Canadian law, and the offenses surrounding PS752 allow for us to investigate and prosecute those, and eventually prosecute them as if they had happened in Canada.